So I've decided, because why not, that you all need to hear about my two favorite fictional characters ever. Now, I mean, some of you may know this, but these two ladies, on the surface, may seem quite different, but they're basically the exact same person. And I love them both for the exact same reason. Here they are. They are my two favorite characters, Luna Lovegood and Morticia Addams. They're both perfect. Let me tell you why. They are both completely, unapologetically, 100% themselves. And they are fantastic, and I love them, and you should love them too. Okay, book rant that no one asked for. So there's this book called The Seven Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. And the premise of this book is that it is a manor house murder mystery, and there's this death that happens, and then the next day, the main character wakes up in the body of a different guest, and like Groundhog Day, the day repeats itself, but he's experiencing it as the other person. And then it happens again the next day, and you got to figure out how this murder happened, who did it, as you are like body swapping. And if they had never explained how or why that was happening, I would have been pleased as punch. I was like, this is a manor house murder mystery. I am on board. But no, they give this ridiculous explanation, and I'm like, that's dumb. So I stopped reading the book. So now that we're on the topic of book rants, and could I save this for tomorrow content-wise? Oh well. So I recently read Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, and I liked it, but I feel like I'm a little too old for how it ended. And what I mean by that is, without being too spoilery, at the end, the kids in this book who are like 12 to 16, basically, they like just go off by themselves to like hunt something that's trying to kill them as children. And like the main character who's like his dad is gonna wake up tomorrow and he's gonna be gone, and you're chillins, you can't do this, you need to go home. But that's not what they did, and today's book review will be of The Frog Prince by the Brothers Grimm, like the original story. And what you need to know about this is that it is the sweetest gay love story that you didn't know was a sweet gay love story. So I'll try and make this quick. First of all, spoiler. The frog gets turned into a prince having nothing to do with the kiss from the princess. He is like annoying her, so she picks him up, throws him as hard as she can against the wall. He turns into a prince, pops up, and is like, we're getting married now. She doesn't say a word for the rest of the story, and this is where it gets good. So then the next day, the prince's like manservant guy shows up with their carriage to like take the prince and the princess back to the prince's kingdom so that they can get married. And so they're driving along the way, and there's this really loud cracking noise, and the prince is like, oh my god, I think one of the wheels just broke, you need to go look at this. And the manservant is like, no, it wasn't the wheel. And then explains that when the prince was gone, he had to place these 3 iron bands over his heart because he was so heartbroken that the prince was gone that he needed to protect his heart. And so he's like, that sound that you heard was not the wheel breaking. It was one of the bands over my heart bursting because I am so happy that you are back with me. And so the prince doesn't really have a reaction to that, and it's kind of sad. But then there are these 2 other really loud cracking noises, and the prince once again is like, I really think the wheel just broke. You need to go check this. And then the manservant once again is like, no, It is the other two bands over my heart that are breaking because I no longer need to protect my heart because I am so happy. So happy to have you back with me. And I was like, I had no idea that The Frog Prince was a sweet, unrequited gay love story. But now you know. So in the past, 2 to 3 months, I have discovered something that has been so relaxing. What is it? A bath. More specifically, a milk bath. This is whole milk. You put half of this in the warm water, mix it around, and you can add baby oil. You can add some Epsom salt, light some candles. It is fantastic to just sit in the warm water for 15, 20 minutes, whatever. A bath. It's fantastic. Something small that has bugged me for a long time is in a children's animated TV show where all the characters are animals, but the main character has a name, but all of his little friends are their names are the type of animal that they are, like duck or owl. But then there's Franklin with a name. I looked more into this Franklin situation, and so there's no duck or owl in Franklin. There are, I think, ducks and owls in Little Bear, which is not a problem because Little Bear's name is Little Bear. But anyway, the Franklin situation. The rest of the turtle family also has names, and yet nobody else. Why? The really strange one here is Winnie the Pooh, which I obviously love, but some of the characters have names and some don't. And the ones that do have names are just different ways of saying what they are. And let me tell you, it took me way too long to figure out Kanga and Roo. I took the pins out of my double pigtail bun things, and it's so much fun. This messy double bun is my quarantine look, I've decided. So my whole life, AUNT has been aunt. I have 5 aunts. It's always aunt, their name, aunt this and that. And then a year and a half ago, I became an aunt, and it's fantastic, but it was Auntie. Auntie loves you so much. Auntie's going to babysit you. Auntie can't wait to see you, little one. Why did that happen? How did that happen? I'm sitting outside, enjoying some nice rain, but I have a quarantine update. Somehow, we've reached the point where I know how to do a TikTok dance to Renegade. I'm 34, and I shouldn't know that. On the agenda today is applying to jobs and paying my electric bill. So we're having a great time. I made this little fort for her this morning, and she's finally using it, and I am too excited about it. I'm a little bit too excited. I was like, I have been in the house for too long. I need to go for a walk. I need to wash my hair, put on some pants, and go for a walk. And I look outside, and it's snowing. And I am irrationally angry. Step 1, wash your hair. Step 2, put on pants. Step 3. One day, that'll be the pool. One day. It's snowing even harder now, and I couldn't find my hat or my gloves, and I'm cold, and I want to go inside, but then I'd be inside. All I wanted was to go outside. Not for terribly long, for a little bit. I wanted to go outside, and it was snowing, and I did not let that stop me. So I went outside, and it snowed harder. And now I'm inside, and I'm too hot, because it is always too hot in my apartment. That is not my fault. That is not what I set the thermostat at. It is just hot all the time. inside. But now my hair is washed, so I've got that going for me. I just learned something really cool, and now you will too. The question is, why are humans ticklish, and why does being tickled make us laugh even though we don't like it? So, the parts of your body that are generally more ticklish are also the parts that are generally more vulnerable. So for example, when you tickle a baby and they sort of pull back, they're learning to protect the parts of their body that are vulnerable. And when you do that, they laugh. And you like that they laugh, so you like to tickle them, which means that you are then repeatedly teaching them how to protect their vulnerable bodies. And that is why humans are ticklish, and that is why it makes us laugh even though we don't like it. So I was just watching a news video on YouTube trying to catch up, and they're talking about like the timeline of coronavirus response, and they were like, well, you know, that first week in February, that was when like the Senate was voting on impeachment. And I'm like, that was this February, that was in February? That was like 2 months ago of this year? What is time? Welcome to day 2 of the stay-at-home reading rush. We are now on question 4. What is your favorite feel-good book? So, I wouldn't say this is like my most favorite feel-good book ever, but it is my favorite novel that I read last year. And it is Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. And basically it's a love story between the fictional Prince of England and the son of the President of the United States. And it is amazing. And I'm talking about it because, for this question, because there's a part in this book that was so cute and so sweet that I just started crying. I was like, I couldn't handle the sweetness, and it just came out of my eyes. I recommend it. So the idea that like a woman puts on a dress and it has pockets and she freaks out because pockets, that's 100% true. But for me, that jealousy does not come from guys' pants having better pockets than women's pants. No. For me, that is about the inner pocket of a man's suit. For 34 years, I have watched men put things into and take things out of the inner pocket of a suit. That is so damn cool because it's always something important. You wouldn't just put whatever you put in the inside pocket in a regular pocket. You put it in the inside pocket because it's an important something that you get to hold on to. That's why. So 2 weeks ago, I cleaned my bathroom, the toilet, the sink, the tub. I washed the floors. Well, check this out, people. I did it again, including the floors. Who am I? What is happening? Is the rest of the house this clean? Let's take a look at that bathroom again. So normally I would do my laundry at my parents' house, but since I can't do that right now and there's no way I'm paying the ridiculous prices for the washer and dryer in the building, I decided to hand wash and air dry. So I started with some towels. We'll see how that goes. I'm hopeful. The second book I finished this weekend was The ABC Murders by Agatha Christie. Now, at a certain point, I was like, this is going to be 4 stars. I can imagine how this is ending, and that sounds really cool. That is not how it ended. I gave it 3 stars. But I appreciated the journey it took me on. Let me explain. So, when the murder seems to be wrapped up, which is like how Agatha Christie ends her books with the explanation of how it happened, there was still 75 pages left. So we still had a ways to go, and I had come up with a really cool idea of how this had happened. That is not what happened though. But I do feel that if I had read this like in 1936 when it first came out, I would have felt differently because I would have been maybe like, I've never seen this before, but I have seen that trope before. Izza wants to say happy birthday to Grammy because Izza loves her Grammy so much. Say happy birthday, Grammy. I love you. I'll see you soon, Grammy. Okay, this is something that Izza does that I don't like because it's obviously dangerous. So she's laying on a pair of scissors, and which obviously I don't want her to do. I'll show you. Move. She's like annoyed that I'm moving her. You're on scissors. And I don't want to like just stop. Oh my God, stop. So I was sitting on the couch doing some cross stitch, listening to a booktube video talking about like how many unread books you have on your shelves and like how many you would like to have. And it made me think of that there are some people who cross stitch who have dozens or sometimes over 100 patterns that they haven't actually started stitching yet. And that's always been odd to me because like the patterns that I buy, I'll start right away. But then I realized, let me show you. I have not read all of these books. And I have not read all of these books. And I have not read all of these books. I've read some of them. But now I get it. Are you in that box? Oh my God. How did you do this? Oh my God. How did you do that? Oh my God, you're amazing.